Come on, people. Welcome back to the channel. 12th man's back. Arsenal roundabouts back. Big up to you. Yes, it's been international break, and apologies, there's not been as much content. But you know what? I needed that break. I needed to recharge and get the battery sorted. I know we did a quiz last night. Big up to everybody that came on. Big up to all of you that enjoyed that. And well done for anyone who got close to 20 out of 25, because that was a tough quiz. And some of the questions, man, oh my God. Like, I got this quiz book. I think it was like last Christmas. Some of the questions in there definitely are not correct, man. Google had to help me out to confirm. But anyway, big up to all of you for taking part in that. Got Kenny in the house tonight, Brandon in the house, got Tosin back, got a gal to talk all things Arsenal with. Look, it's going to be a good show. We're going to be discussing quite a few things as we look to try and build up what is going to be a mad Premier League. Well, not a few games. It's going to be quite a lot of games now until 2025, really. No more international breaks until March, which is nice because I can't stand international break, unlike Kenny, who loves it. But you know what? I actually enjoyed this one because I needed a bit of a break from it, man, I must say. So big up to all of you. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to everybody here, following everybody here. All of their social media handles are here. So make sure you go and follow Fleet Footed, Gal Talks Football. Go follow Brandon on True Gunners TV. And of course, Kenny Ken on Instagram. Make sure you're doing that, people, as well. Let's chuck some questions in, people, because I liked this format last time where we just had a little bit of a discussion. The first thing I want to talk about is the name of this title. I don't really care that Pep signed a new deal, by the way. I mean, we can mention it if you really want to later in the stream, but that's no shock. That's no breaking news to me. It was obvious this guy was going to stay. Ornstein says he's staying another year. Wow, shock horror. He's not leaving at the end of the year. Like I said, I think there's enough of that. Let's talk about this, though, because there are rumours, strong rumours circulating that Arsenal are going to increase the capacity to around about 80k. How important is this stadium increase in capacity size? Now, the reason I asked this question is because there's some out there that are saying it needs to be more because the waiting list is massive. There's some out there that are saying, I don't really care, just win me a trophy. There's some out there that are saying, actually, like, this shouldn't be an order of priority yet. Where are we at as a panel, man? Let me come to you, Kenny, on this news, because it broke. To be honest, I did a show on it not a few weeks ago now, because I knew this was coming. And it's more about the actual uplift to the stadium and stopping it from looking so tired, because it has literally been 17 years now. When you go there and you know, I mean, me and you go every weekend, and my seat is actually pink now, not red. And there's number on it. I can't even read it. It's that bad. All of the plaques down the rows are all busted. It just needs a little bit of TLC at the moment. But in terms of the capacity size, what are you telling me, Kenny?
Well, the club are going to tell you that they're going to even give you an announcement to every member, or a gold member, right now the red member, that due to the increasing demand for tickets, and because the team are doing really well, and Mick Arteta's taking this great side into competing for the title, to satisfy the demand for tickets, we're going to have to increase the stadium. That's what they're going to tell you. But at the end of the day, those alleged 20,000 tickets, you and I know that only about probably under 10,000 are going to go to fans. The rest are going to go towards corporates. And I think that's the name of the game now, is that the corporate guy is the guy who makes the club money. And I think I'm neutral towards it, because I know that if we're spending half a billion pounds on ground improvements, increasing the size of the stadium, then two things will happen. We may have to move to Wembley, which I'm not really a fan of. I'm against. Two, and the most important thing is for the football team. You know, we're not going to have much of a budget to spend on players, which means if we don't have much of a budget to spend on players, the best we're going to have to hope for is probably a top four fight. We're not going to be able to update a squad, because if you're spending half a billion pounds of your own money, I don't see, how it's not going to affect the transfer budget. And so I'm really concerned about this, because we competed for the title in the last 2 seasons. We know the areas that we need to improve on. Some must differ. We'll say striker, but I think there's a few other positions. To compete, to be the best, you have to get the best. And if Mick Arteta has wandering eyes, you have to try and get the best replacement for him, the best manager. Now, if you've got an affected transfer budget because of your stadium plans, I don't see how that works. I don't see how it doesn't affect the football team. So I'm seriously concerned and, slightly against it, because you only want to update the stadium because the stadium down the road in Seven Sisters Road is like a museum. It's up to date. it's a lovely stadium. I've been there. I hate saying this. I've been there for boxing. My kids have been there for to watch Beyonce, but we've been there for North London derbies, and we all say it the same. All of us have said this stadium pisses all over the Emirates, and so that's another consideration. But for me, against it, because I don't want anything to affect our transfer budget on players.
Yeah, no, I've got to be real. Like, I call this show the Arsenal roundabout because it does feel like we just go round and round and round. And Ant's even a Leicester fan saying this is like deja vu when you move from Highbury to the Emirates. And if I'm honest with you, this is actually a bit of a man. Now, listen, I'm all for getting more capacity, and that's not the issue for me. What it is the expense and what is going to have knock-on effects, because we were already told, well, we're coming to the Emirates. Now we're going to have to win with kids under this ownership, as at the same time has been always trying to save a little bit of money, if I'm honest with you, from what I can see. Brandon, what do you make of this, man? Because I know you're quite passionate about it, bro.
Con artists, bro. Con artists, yeah. I've been saying it for a long time about this football club. Aside from the other football club that's down in North London, down the lane, yeah, we are probably the biggest con artists and scammers in the league. We can all see what's happening. Anybody who's got a bit of sense about them can see what's happening. And it's basically exactly what Kenny just explained, right? I find it highly ironic how, you know, this is the last international break before the January transfer window. The last time that, you know, fans are going to be able to chill out, relax, you know, really sit and think about, you know, what do Arsenal need? What do, you know, have discussions about certain things. We all know we need a striker or a forward or whatever in January, right? And it's a time now where we can start to apply the pressure, because people are talking about the January transfer window. Arsenal are getting linked to players. Fans are talking about what we need. How much money can we afford to spend? You know, we made a profit in the summer. That must mean we have money available. And then all of a sudden, Arsenal do what they do best. Oh, by the way, we're going to spend £500 million increase in the stadium capacity, which tells me, as I've always said and maintained, that the ownership isn't interested in winning. Their priority isn't winning. Yeah, their priority is how much more money can I make off these people? How many more customers can we get in to the stadium to buy our merch? How many more bums on seats can we get at game time in order to earn us money? They've stopped thinking about how can we improve this team? How can we get over the line? What does Mikel Arteta need in January to get this Arsenal side to win a trophy? Instead of that, they're thinking, hang about, how can we calm down the uproar that's currently happening right now? You know, there's a lot of Arsenal fans out there, even the ones that, you know, back the manager and back the process, like a girl, for example, is sitting there now questioning, you know, certain things like, you know, we all know that there are holes in this squad still, even after £800 million spent. We all know that even though we've spent that sort of money, we still require more money to be spent on the squad in order to get us into that position. And now, all of a sudden, and this is why I say the Kroenkes' first priority is not winning, right? Because when you say that to people, people say, yeah, but how can you say that about the owners? They've given this manager £800 million. Well, I can say it because now that we're this close to being a side that competes, and not only competes, but wins major honours consistently, now all of a sudden the investment is stopping. Now all of a sudden, you know, it's gonna come to January and they're gonna do the same old shit they always do, Dan, which is, oh well, we can't really afford to go out and get a Gyökeres, even though he's got a release clause and you don't have to do much negotiating or anything like that, because of this, you know, plan to expand the stadium capacity, PSR, financial fair play, you know, all the usual things. But I tell you what we will do. We'll go out, we'll get you another player that you don't want. We'll get him on loan. We'll gas him up into oblivion and make you think that this is the greatest signing since sliced bread. We'll get you all excited, and then you'll start rating transfer windows 8 out of 10 again. You know, that's how easy it is. I'll give the Kroenkes one thing, right? In terms of business ownership, not running a successful business, but in terms of the success of being good salespeople, they're very, very good at that. Yeah, these guys could literally sell Wynn's dog shit on the Arsenal website, and I think there are some Arsenal fans out there that would buy it, genuinely, because I do sometimes sit there and question if not all fans, but some of our fans genuinely don't have two brain cells to rub together. Because how can you not see what's happening here? How can you not see that? We all know what's coming in January, and like I said, this international break was the prime opportunity for Arsenal fans to actually sit there and go, what do we need? What can we go and get? Blah, 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 blah. And the club have just come along and they've gone, do you know what? We're going to put a stop to that. Let's put that out there. Let's just, PR a load of nonsense again. Let's pretend that everything's all moving in the right direction and we haven't got a budget. Same thing that they did under Wenger, which is why we consistently let our best players go year in, year out. Oh, because we need to pay the stadium off. Well, the stadium was £28 million a year. So we didn't need to sell our best players. But, once again, as I said, they're very good at PR. They're very good at sales, right? So they can come out with a load of nonsense and make you believe anything. It's time now that Arsenal fans started going, hang about, actually. No, we're not having this. Yeah, okay. Increase the stadium capacity if you want to. We understand there's a massive, waiting list in terms of season tickets. There's a lot of people that, we're a global fan base. A lot of people want to come and watch the Arsenal. That's fine. But don't allow it to affect our transfer budget. Don't allow it to affect what's going on the football pitch. Regardless of how I feel about the manager, this isn't the manager issue. This is the football club issue. This is the ownership issue. And this is why I'll always have my foot on their necks. Because regardless of what I think of Mikel Arteta, this ownership has consistently let Arsenal down for 20-odd fucking years, mate. Yeah? Ever since we moved to the Emirates, we was fed a pack of lies. And that pack of lies that we was fed, we haven't won a league title in 21 years. We haven't won a Champions League. We haven't won a trophy in 5 years. And we're the third biggest club in the country, one of the biggest globally in the world. It's unacceptable. But they'll continue this shit because people just buy into it. You got to stop buying into it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Tosin, there's a lot of facts I think that's been spitted by Brandon there, bruv. Where you at with this stadium thing? I mean, look, a lot of people will see it as a positive because it's going to get a bigger stadium. It will be nice. Hopefully we get some upgrades. But if it's going to cost £500 million, would you rather that not be invested into the squad and we do the stadium once we start competing and dominating? That's the way I would like to see it. But where you at with this one, brother?
Yeah, of course.
Before you answer, Toss, let me just ask you this, right? Man United have a leaking roof. Yeah, their roof is hissing down with rain, and fans are getting soaking wet, right? But do you think that Man United fans would be that bothered about the leaking roof if they was winning trophies at the same rate as Manchester City? Because I don't think they would. And that's it. Is the stadium really a priority, or is it hang about? Forget the stadium. Win me some trophies. Our stadium isn't in bad nick like Manchester United's. It's not the greatest, and yes, it could.
You've been there when it's raining.
It could do with a bit of TLC. It could do with a bit of TLC, but that's not what football is about. It's not about bringing in customers. It's not about that. It's about winning trophies. We've gone away from that. We're just customers to them now.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's just accept the fact that football now is a business. This is not just for Arsenal. This is just football. Football's a business now, right? We've got ownership now.
All sports, bro.
All sports, especially in the Premier League now. You're getting a lot more American owners coming, right? And they're going to come with their own ideas and agendas as to how to do things. That being said, is it confirmed? I mean, I was doing Googles about this. Nothing is confirmed. It's not like there's a plan rolled out.
Nah, it's the rumor.
It will definitely happen and so forth. But I do hear what Brandon is saying, because it's given all the stuff that's happened, the last thing you want to talk about is a stadium increase. We should be talking about transfer war chests and all this sort of garbage. But Arsenal are Arsenal. I personally don't see how this is going to impact us in the short term. The short-term objective is capitalize on the young team you've got now, win a bunch of trophies, make the most of what you got. I really don't see how this hinders us. And if you ask me, I don't mind. I'm not too opposed to giving the stadium an uplift, because at the end of the day, yeah, we need to win trophies, but at the same time, Arsenal were far behind the pack now when it comes to we led the way in innovation. Now we're not. And yes, of course, we know trophies are the be-all and end-all. By the end of the day, like, you've got teams like West Ham, you've got teams like Tottenham, teams that aren't bigger than Arsenal, that have a bigger stadium capacity. And let's face facts, demand for tickets have gone through the roof. If I'm the owner of Arsenal, right, and I'm seeing that now we've gone from queues to full-on ballots now for ticket allocations, I don't think this is the most far-fetched thing to think about. That's why I'm asking, what's the information around this? Because is it confirmed? How much are they going to spend?
Well, it's confirmed. It's confirmed that we're going to be a refurbishment in terms of upgrading some of the facilities. And the rumor has it that we're going to be going into a kind of a process. Process sounds like the wrong word, or the right word, I suppose, to use, to get an 80k capacity stadium. And the way that they do that is they either remove the roof and add more up, or they go in burrowing down into the ground to try and get closer to the pitch or closer to the play. So that's how they're talking about doing this. Even with 20k, even if 20,000 went to all the fans, there'd still be another 20,000 on the waiting list. So I understand what Tosin's saying in terms of getting people there, because you want to get tickets and you want to try and get, even if we had 120,000, we'd still have a waiting list. Do you know what I mean? So that's how big we are. But I just don't know if this is the right timing, to be honest. But when is the right timing? We've got to be winning stuff soon. And was it the right time to go to the Emirates? No. Is it probably going to be the right time to expand on this? Probably not. But, I look at what let me show you some pictures, right? These are the ownership. These are the owners that we've got, right? These are the owners that we've got. This is the Rams. Yeah. This is what the Rams have got. This is what the Rams are at the SoFi Stadium. They've also got a bloody beach or a lake around it. They're building a train tracks to get people there so they can actually have a look at getting people there. More importantly, this is what we've got around our ground. Pictures of Win the Dog and all of our players. Like this is where the kind of comparison is that comes in. Now, obviously, that's a bit tongue in cheek, but you get my point. We haven't got a bloody lake around ours. We've got puddles around ours. They've got lakes and beaches around theirs. And people will say it's the Arsenal times next. It's Arsenal next. Arsenal's the club next. That's what the Kroenkes are doing next. But me and Turkish are talking about this. I don't want Arsenal to be next. I want Arsenal to be always. I don't want it to be our turn. I want to get a trophy and then another one and then another one and then another one. And I want to dominate. This is about win the league. Brilliant. Oh, great. That was a really good job supporting Arsenal. So happy that we won the league. What should I do now? And that's what the Kroenkes do. Go look at Colorado Rapids. Go look at LA Rams. Go look at the Nuggets. They win one and they don't do nothing else. That's all they do.
Stop it. LA Rams. The LA Rams. The Denver Nuggets. Kroenkes franchises have in North America especially are one of the best run teams in all the sports. The Denver Nuggets went and picked out a gem. They've gotten the Kylian Mbappe, the freaking best player probably one of the best players in NBA history in his position right now, almost, in Jokic, in what he's doing. If he can continue this for the next 4 or 5 years, they look like the Denver Nuggets going to be competing
what have the Rams and the Nuggets won in the last decade?
The Rams, they were in a Super Bowl a couple years ago. They lost. Then they had a chance to get it again. You know what they did? They threw the kitchen sink and more. They've shown that they're willing to do investment when need be. Now, I think at Arsenal, the people in charge, the people actually making the decisions, have not been able to pull the trigger quick enough and have not been able to get the right deals, because I don't think the money wasn't there. I don't think the Kroenkes are not willing to spend. I think the Kroenkes were willing to spend 75 million for Rafinha, apparently, willing to spend 55 million for Nico Williams, apparently. Why didn't we get any of these deals done? Is it on the Kroenkes, or is it the people who we have in-house being incapable of getting deals done?
Igal, We went for Vlahovic and we ended up with nobody.
Is that on the Cronkies or because they're willing to pay? These fucking people that are in the club, Dan, these people who are in the club constantly leaving us a short change, and you guys are blaming the Cronkies when the Cronkies are trying to put money on the table.
Whose fault is it then? Whose fault is it then?
They're willing. It's not the Cronkies' fault. It's these fucking people who run the club. Who
runs the club?
Mistakes.
There are fucking owners, Igal. What are you talking about?
The owners give you the leeway to make the decisions. The decision makers at our club are not making the right decisions.
So why have you been gassing them up for the last 2 years then? If all of a sudden now they're the problem.
One second. If you give your child money to go buy something, and they constantly go buy candy, but you know they need to go and get milk, or you know they need to go get something for thing, you need to correct them. I agree with you. The owners are partially at fault. They've been trying to fix that. But when I look at them and I see that they are in North America considered one of the best owners across all platforms, their NFL team, their lacrosse team, their hockey, their basketball team, their football team, all winning, and Arsenal's not winning. I think the reason why Arsenal's not winning is because Edu, Arteta, the people in charge are very particular with the kind of signings that they want.
Did you just say lacrosse?
Yeah, even their lacrosse team won. Bro, I'm telling you, the Cronkies are not the problem. I don't think the financial situation is the problem. I think the people who run Arsenal, when they don't like a player or they don't like a signing, they don't really like going for plan Bs too often. When they do go for plan Bs, when they do go for plan, the guy left himself. Forget about sacking
One of them has.
The guy left himself.
Culture starts at the top of any organization. If you want to understand,
Wallahi, I never glazed Edu. These people saying I glazed Edu. I've been saying Edu is a fraud for the longest time. Go through all my streams. Go through my tweets.
Hang on. Egel, you just said you've been saying Edu's a fraud for the longest time, but then you gave the transfer window an 8 out of 10, bro. So,
I gave the transfer window a 7. And that was pushing it.
Me and Dad gave it what, a 2?
You know what you guys do? You do this thing all the time. I'm fighting narratives from other fans. Why am I coming on this stream every single week and I'm fighting narratives? You guys are putting Bab's words in my mouth. You guys are putting Twitter accounts words in my mouth. You're putting other people's words in my mouth 24/7. The honest truth is, none of you guys can sit here and tell me the stadium rebuild is a negative thing and it's going to negatively impact Arsenal. I genuinely believe you guys, Brandon, I respect your opinion, but I think you're completely wrong. I think them doing whatever they're doing with the stadium should have no impact on the financial impact on how we sign players. There should be a completely different streamline of money dedicated to investing on agriculture and the stadium in comparison to investing on the team. If you are saying 500 million that's going to invest in rebuilding the stadium is going to negatively impact the club, we're not a big club. Fuck it. We're a tiny club. If you think 500 million going to the stadium is going to impact us, I'm sorry. You don't rate us as a club if you think that.
So having said all of that, then Miguel, if Arsenal don't go out in January and spend a minimum of £100 million, I expect to see you kicking off.
January, bro. I don't expect them to make. I don't expect them to spend 100 million. I'll keep it a buck. We're lucky if we spend 60 million on an attacker.
No. Hang on. Why? We're a big club. You just said we're a big club. £500 million should not affect our transfer budget. We know that we are going to have to spend anywhere between 100 to 120 million pound to get this team into a position to win the league title or win a Champions League this season. So why can we not go out in January and do that? Why?
Because I don't think a lot of players that we're looking at are going to be available for reasonable prices in January. And if Arsenal are going to pay over the odds in January for Isaac or pay over the odds for Gyökeres, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the only person we could potentially go and get is maybe another left winger, like similar to like a Leandro Trossard type signing, maybe 50-40 million winger coming in to improve our attack. Well, that's what I think is the best. And Brandon, before you start saying spending 100 million, let me ask you right now in front of everybody, do you think we're going to even sign a player, let alone 100 million? What are you talking about?
No,
I question if we're going to sign one player in January, let alone spend 100 million.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's not the aspect that I'm trying to get out of you. You just said.
Well, what does that have to do with the Cronkies?
Well,
we need to get out of our heads. The Cronkies are not the problem. These guys are willing to spend money. The people who are spending it are not spending it correctly.
Willing to spend money in January, then yes, no,
bro. One second. I think if the Cronkies if they went to the Cronkies and they said, we have this player we want to bring in, this player is crucial for our improvement, they will give them the money. I think the people who are running the club themselves are somewhat thinking in a cheap manner or thinking in a backwards manner.
Yeah, so
I really don't believe. I really don't believe.
Then is what you're saying.
I really don't believe the people who run the club view the club similar to how Chelsea view it. Because if they did, we would be linked to big names every January. But what happens is
why haven't the Cronkies sacked them then?
Last point. In that case, then
I agree with you there. They should, but maybe they're thinking that these guys know better.
Them. The culture starts from them, bro.
What you're telling me?
The number one guy is Tim Lewis. That guy's the biggest snake. We need to figure out what that guy's doing. What is Tim Lewis doing? Because Tim Lewis is the number one. What?
You're telling me then again? It's not the Cronkies. The Cronkies are giving us the money. It's the people that are running the football club that are in charge of the transfers that don't want to spend the money or want to bring in the correct player. So in that case, then, if we do not go out in January and buy a player, and it's down to them people in particular that you've just said it is, right? And Arsenal end up not winning a trophy this season or finishing, let's just say, inside the top 4 and behind Liverpool and Man City, then I expect Mikel Arteta to be sacked because he has a big say in what Arsenal do in the transfer window. I expect Tim Lewis to be sacked. I expect them all to be sacked because it's not the Cronkies, it's them.
But you want to know something? The people who run the club view sports differently to how you guys view sports. And I'm just going to educate you guys quickly for a second. We are dealing with American owners who are used to being patient because in their sport, there's no divine right. There's no divine right for anybody winning. Fulham have as good as in their sport, in North American sports, the equivalent to a Fulham and a Leicester winning the league, it can happen maybe every 4 or 5 years or every 10 years, at least once. So they view sports completely different. And just to tell you guys,
been patient as a fan base,
and if your main issue is how Arsenal is run as a football club, and it goes back to the Cronkies, maybe that is the biggest issue because the way that we view transfers and how we view our club and how we should do business is different to how they do business. I agree with you there. And they're not going to sack a manager. They're going to have patience with a manager, even if they're not achieving or they slightly regress because they view things as non-linear. You can have dips and then still go back up.
You just said the equivalent of a Fulham or a Crystal Palace in the American sports, will probably win the league once every 10 years, So they have more patience. That's fine. This is big Arsenal Football Club that haven't won a league in 21 fucking years.
That's where the disconnect can be. I agree.
How many more times? Because, again, the Cronkies were the owners when Arsene Wenger was in charge of Arsenal. And Arsene Wenger was consistently selling our best players with the excuse being made that we have to pay the stadium off, right? So when are the owners going to turn around and go, do you know what? You're this close, Mikel Arteta. We are a very good side, but you have a few pieces missing of the puzzle. We are this close. How about, we just go and get you that striker anyway. How about we give you this money here and we just go get it? Do you know what, Gyökeres? Release clause? Do I think he could do any worse than Jesus right now? Probably not. Let's just go get him anyway. Even if you don't want him, we're doing what's best for the football club. Forget Mikel Arteta.
You don't think they did that? You don't think they did that?
What?
You don't think they said to them, here is 200
We went
million.
for Sesko, though.
They said here's 200 million the year when we signed Declan Rice. they said here's another 150 million last summer. Plus, they were willing to give them more. They're willing to give them more. And these guys said, no, we can't get Nico. We can't get Rafinha. We can't get this guy. We can't get that guy. Oh, we can get Victor Osimhen. Do we want Victor Osimhen? No, we don't. That's what they did. They have the choices in front of them. They choose not to sign them. Brendan, the money is there. The club doesn't want to spend it on anybody. They've clearly made it clear they have a way of doing business.
Who needs to be sacked for that then? For that decision, who needs to be
you want to know
sacked?
something? I wish we were like a certain club where you don't have a good striker, buy another one. You don't have another good striker, buy a third one. You don't have a good striker, buy a fourth one. That's what you guys want. But these guys are not ever going to do that.
I just want one. I don't want 4 strikers. I just want one. And I've waited 5 years.
No, but bro, you don't realize it. Jesus, they want to get him off the books potentially before we sell him. Zinchenko now, they want to get him off the books. He's already outstayed his welcome.
Who signed them? Who signed them?
We sold Emil Smith Rowe and we loaned out Reece Nelson because they weren't going to get game time. We didn't fucking buy a replacement. And these are the things where I look at these people and I say, yo, little things that we've done to try to hurt ourselves.
Can I ask you then, because you just said about Jesus, right? Who's buying Jesus? He's on what? What is he on?
Corinthians.
260?
Palmeiras, yeah.
1 second.
Corinthians or Fluminense.
Saudi Arabian. My brother's going to have to learn Arabic, start saying marhaba, and you're going to be good. He's going to learn Arabic. He's gonna be good. He won I leagues with Man City. He can go to Saudi Arabia and they can pay him a decent wage. I also think we're looking at the stadium as an issue, but the real deeper issue is you guys always say it to me, and I agree with you. The mismanagement of funds has been an issue, and that is where I think we need to look, not the actual cronkies, because the mismanagement of funds, you can blame it on Edu, you can blame it on Arteta, you can blame it on whoever you want. But I think the main reason why we are in a situation we are in, we've had the money, we have a good enough team, but we still have holes. And every time we get to a window, it seems like I don't have faith in my club filling those holes. Where I look at Chelsea, I look at Liverpool. You know what? I look at Liverpool, I don't think their fans have faith in them either. I just think Man City, Man United, and Chelsea, no matter what, will go into the window trying to fix their problems. And if they get it wrong, they will still go try to fix it again. Where that's the only thing that I wish Arsenal could do better. I wish Arsenal would take a page out of all these other clubs that just go into every window trying to address a problem, because we don't do that. I'm going into the window, speaking to people, saying, are we going to sign somebody? They're telling me, who? Are we fucking owls? Like, why are we always saying who?
Can I just say something? You know, to the clubs you discussed, right? First thing you discussed, you've just been talking about Arsenal for the last 50 years. I've been around a few years before, longer than 50, but that's Arsenal club in a nutshell. We've always been that kind of club where we've always been behind the 8 ball when it comes to players' wages and signing big names. So I think the Cronkies came to the right club with the right mentality. They suit the club's mentality for the last 50 years. But the clubs you're talking about, you know, we should copy. Well, 2 of those clubs have got, one had a Russian owner who basically spent money like it was water, and they went on to win everything. And the other one's got owner for the Middle East, where they run everything. So your remedy, I've always believed it as well, because I've probably tapped out, is that maybe the only way Arsenal can compete like the clubs that you're talking about is if not only do we get new owners, but we get a new mentality. We lose the Arsenal, classy Arsenal sort of mentality where we do things the right way, where we get the owners that Man City and sort of Chelsea had and Abramovich, and we just, right, here's the money, boom. Let's get if we want to be the best, let's get the best players, the best managers, and win that way. Because right now, I've been supporting this club all my life, and all I've seen is owners like the Cronkies. Before the Cronkies, we had the Hillwoods, that were just like the Cronkies. We had people like Ken Fryer, Lord Peckham, all the same. And I think it's not just the Cronkies, it's this mentality that holds Arsenal back. We don't want to move with the times. We look down at our nose at other clubs and start calling it doping, oh, they're not doing it the right way. They bought it all when we go to away games. We bought
Well
it,
said.
but we still haven't got a Champions League. And we
Well
still
said.
haven't won the league for 21 years. So perhaps owners in, get someone from China, get someone from the United Emirates or Saudi Arabia, and basically do what Man City are doing, and that way we'll be able to compete. Because I tell you, we're not going to win anything or dominate with these owners. But it's not the owners' just fault. It's the whole Arsenal mentality. Rip it up, start it again. Let's be modern Arsenal. Let's be the Arsenal that wins things, not classy Arsenal. Oh, look at our history. Oh, yeah, everyone wears a tie to go into the, marble halls. Stuff that. Let's win trophies.
Mate,
Yeah,
it's
but
about trophies, bro.
We're
Go
a weird club because this is the same team that was bidding 70 M's for Caicedo in January, bidding 80 M's for Mudryk. You mean I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a bit of everything because I'm actually putting a lot. I'm looking at Arteta a bit here. I'm looking at Edu because it's like, guys, do you actually want these players? I look at Arteta. I look at what he's trying to do at the club. He's done a lot of good, but does he really want a striker?
Do you know what?
Apparently, we're gonna go for a winger.
We talk about these Gyökereses and whatnot, but I only saw us really go for one striker in the summer, and that was Šeško. I didn't see anything else. So I mean, we can talk all we want, Gyökeres, this, that, but I don't think our manager wants him. I think he's clearly set in how he wants to play, the types of players he wants. That's why you could give him 200 M's. There's no way on earth. There's no way on earth.
Did you get the Jesus article? Did you get the Jesus article?
No.
Tosin, to start the season, Jesus is going to give it one more go. That's what they're saying. Jesus is going to have a big year. Well, they sold me on Fabio Vieira being the Odegaard backup.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of him.
Yeah, but
let me move the question on. Oh, go on, Brandon. Last on this, and then we'll move to the next question. Go on, bro.
Don't you think it's highly ironic? Because Tosin, you're right. Yeah, Arsenal were bidding 70 million for Rafinha in January. We were bidding, 80 million for Mudryk. Looking at Douglas Luiz, yeah, all in January. All of this happened in January. All of a sudden, now that Arsenal are qualifying for Champions League football again consistently, our January signings have dried up. Mm-hmm. Is that on the people in charge of the football?
It's the phony newspaper companies who keep linking us to players we weren't linked to all window.
Yeah,
my point is Arsenal were quite willing to go out and spend big money in January when we wasn't qualifying for Champions League. Now that we are and we're competing for league titles, all of a sudden, nobody.
Bro, stop it. Stop it.
We got a problem. Guys, we got a problem in January, though. It's big. I think I can see where your girls come from, see where brands come from. The big problem we got in January, which I think we haven't discussed, we still got a Champions League stage that finishes in the end of January. Now, these players, like I've heard Gyökeres be mentioned, all these big names. If their clubs are still in the Champions, league,
I don't know why
people not getting them.
Waste their time talking.
Bro, money talks. Why do we care?
We got to wait till June again, where hopefully, because we've got rid of a lot of players, we've come within FFP. Then maybe we'll get our players. But you know what I think.
These guys don't want to move.
I think you say that the new stadium, like I said, proposed as the biggest scam. I think FFP is the biggest scam of all time because it hasn't done what it should have done. There's still clubs who are like skating along the line. You try to punish them the right way. They get their lawyers in, and what happens? They see loopholes and they get away with it. I'm maybe a pessimistic person, but I'm not as optimistic as a lot of fans who think that Man City are going to be hit with a big. I think that there's going to be certain things, or certain compromises where, if there's punishments, and I say there's a big if, it's not going to be an impact that I think it's going to be. So,
but what you got to look at is Arsenal. Look at the types of players we've bought. Arteta clearly has a style of what players he wants. He wants players, dual use, fluid, functional across different positions. That's the type of profile he's always going for. You see it all across the types of signings we bought.
No, Gyökeres then. Gyökeres can't play.
So, like, I'm sorry. People are crying out this. We need it, but I don't see. I'm looking at the manager. I'm looking at the manager, right? Because, bro, you're not lobbying for any of these players. The only striker I've seen you really twerk for or go after really is Jesus and Cesco. I've not seen you do any of that.
And
I didn't see you go for any. We are linked with Nico Williams. I never really thought we were going to get him because I didn't see.
He met with him at Emirates.
I didn't see anything tangible. So my thing is, I'm looking at the manager. This is the team that you wanted. These are the players that you wanted. Now you've got to deliver. And I genuinely believe Arteta thinks he's got enough, but he's got this fetish with playing his preferred starting 11. He's not figured it out that winning a league is a squad game. You need a great squad, and he's banking on all of our players being fit. He's banking on no injury. He's banking on the stuff that happened 2 seasons ago, which is just not happening. Everything is going our way. Even the fine margins, arguably chance creation situations where we should actually create something. Nothing is happening going our way. So every metric that could go against us is going against us this season. I genuinely believe, I don't think he's going to buy anyone. He genuinely believes he's got enough. It's just unlucky. He's not going to buy anyone. So, and
let me segue this nicely because this is going to come into the nice, well, a nice way really. What will happen in January and who we want to replace Edu, because I kind of feel like we want people in January. We don't have a sporting director at the moment. We don't know who's going to be in charge of everything. We imagine Mikel Arteta is going to get a say in what he wants if we do anything at all. So I want to ask you guys as a panel what we expect to be happening in January. And more to the point, if we don't do something, are we in trouble? Like real talk.
I don't think we're in trouble.
You want to know something? Our solutions to our problems have to come within.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
The reality.
We're not doing anything.
The reality is everyone needs to look at Martinelli and be like, bro, we need 15 goals from you this season in the league. Just do that, right? Leandro Trossard, we need you to fill in and be ready for when you come off the bench. Now that we don't have Reece Nelson and Smith Rowe and these guys, we need everyone on their game. We need everyone in the team on their game, and I need Arteta to be brave. Take a pill out of other people's books. Give Ethan more shots because this kid seems to be one of the only players on our bench that is giving us a major impact. And he is 17? He's ready. We've seen across all of football, all these youngsters lifting their teams. I'm not saying Ethan's going to help us win the league. I'm just saying give him a chance to be somebody off the bench because we don't have enough options off the bench. Instead of playing another left back, play Ethan. Simple. And also finally, no dumb red cards. Stop getting dumb red cards. I'm not complaining about referees.
There you go.
Forget about the referees right now. Just don't put yourself in vulnerable situations. We have a game versus Nottingham Forest. We have a game versus West Ham. We have a game versus Man United. We have a game versus Crystal Palace. We have a chance to get ourselves back into it. I want to see better performances. I want to see better results. And I really don't care who replaces Edu right now, because I don't think that's going to negatively impact us and positively impact us until the summer.
If I'm honest, the person who replaces Edu is not going to be in place by January, so it doesn't really matter, to be fair.
Yeah.
We've got to get someone in with experience.
And who are we going to sign in January?
I didn't even know. Someone did say it in the chat, but Gyökeres has got another 4 goals tonight for Sweden.
The final thing. Stop thinking about a striker. It's not happening in January.
It's not happening. Just get over it.
If you focus your attention to a winger, that is something plausible. We could actually get a good winger in the January window for maybe 50, 60 million. And I'm saying like a look.
We've got one. We've already got one. Raheem Sterling. Everyone told me he's the guy.
Bro,
everyone said he was going to make.
I'll put my hand up. I'll put my hand up and I'll apologize to every single person who watches this channel and say I'm sorry that I even tried to sell you guys on Raheem Sterling. Chelsea is paying majority of the wages.
Why are you apologising, guys?
Chelsea's paying majority of the wages, but the guy's not working out.
You're right. No, he's not playing. But what I've always said,
I thought he would do something.
Yeah, but you say he's not doing something. But with the amount of games we're in a sort of collectively belief that we're not going to challenge. We're not going to get anyone in. I've always been of the volition that because of the amount of games we're playing and the regularity of the games, where there's going to be very little rest, we need all our squad even him. That's
Yeah,
why.
he's not
That's
played.
why, regardless of what you think of his performances, can we say hand in heart that we've seen enough of him to say it hasn't worked? We haven't really
No.
seen much of him. So we're taking the manager's word for it that it hasn't worked in training. That's what we take the manager's word for it. So whether Mikel likes it or not, we're talking. He wants to work within that first 11. But if you look at it, probably 50% of that first 11 that he's putting in the park, that he's going to be putting in the park on Saturday, majority they're all out of form. So basically you're carrying players and hoping something's going to happen on Saturday.
Literally, everyone is out of form.
But
Why
are they out of form? This is where it becomes, in my opinion, not a player issue, a manager issue, right? Because when you're seeing the entire 11 not performing at the level that they are capable of, that becomes a system issue, not a player issue. If you've got 1 or 2 or 3, 4 players
not really
performing and the rest are performing, then you can sit there and say, do you know what? It's an individual issue. But when you're seeing Martinelli not performing, Trossard not performing, Saka is the only one who really does perform, but that's because he's the only one in our front line that can create for himself, create for others. The rest of them need service. And if Saka's not giving them the service because he's having a poor game, and bearing in mind, Martin Odegaard's been out injured for months on end, then them lot do nothing as well. Havertz isn't really performing. Ben White's been out of form, but he's been playing with injury, as we know. You know, Declan Rice has got a broken toe. You know, our back line hasn't been anywhere near as good as what it was last season. We're conceding goals at a higher rate than what we did. So it also, then you can look at individuals, yes, and you can say Martinelli, Trossard, etc., you need to do better. But how much of this is a system issue or a manager issue, and what the instructions the manager is giving the players?
I don't think it's a system issue.
Performance.
I don't think it's a system issue. I think the system is fine if you've got the players to play in it. I think that you got to look at it. Like, yes, by the way, I agree with what you're saying in terms of Arteta. He needs to he's under them. I believe right now he's going to be under the most pressure he's been at. He's been under at Arsenal since that period when Smith Rowe saved him, and just after we completely bottled fourth. He's under a ton of pressure. These next few games are massive for him, right? But that being said, literally, it's been the perfect storm for us this season, right? You think everything that could possibly go bad has gone bad. So I really don't think it's a system issue. You think about the squad, you think about the things that make Arsenal Arsenal. You think about the way we build from the back, and you look at how that's been hampered. You look at the fact that for a large part of the season already, we've not had our starting left back available. We've had injuries with our right back. We've not had the guy that sets the tone for the team. And whether people like to admit or not, yes, great squad planning. You can buy players. Yes, true. Play one area, but Odegaard is a world-class player. You will miss him in the team. Regardless of who you buy, regardless of how competent they are, a player like Odegaard, you will miss his presence on the team, off the ball and on the ball. So if such a mainstay in the team is missing, you mean to tell me the tempo isn't going to go off? You mean to tell me the rhythm's not going to be off? You mean to tell me a lot of players who would typically do well aren't going to really do well? I don't really think it's a system issue. I think there's a lot of small issues that have come together. The system is part of it, but it's not the main issue that have all resulted in Arsenal playing this terribly. That's why I think we're literally just a few wins, just a dodgy deflected goal going in, just our luck changing from things going the other way. So I don't think it's a system issue.
I agree to a certain extent, but the biggest problem that we have, and it's been demonstrated already this season, that without Martin Odegaard and without Bukayo Saka, them two in particular, when it comes to Arsenal going forward and actually creating or being a threat on the counter-attack or whatever it may be, if them two are not performing or not playing, we have big problems. Big problems.
Yeah, of course.
As do, one second, Brendan, as do everybody else.
Yeah.
Liverpool lose Mo Salah. One second, Brendan. Understand what you're saying. Liverpool lose Mo Salah. Liverpool lose Van Dijk. They fall off a cliff. Man City, they lost Rodri. They started losing 400 pounds.
Like Yeah, of course. It is going
Like,
to go down.
it's a normal thing. You lose 2 of your best players. Any team in the world take 2 of their best players, they fall.
Let me ask this, because Gal, I'll put this to you before you go, because I know you've got to shoot off, right? I think this is a fair question. This was sent into by someone the other day. Can you name 3 players who need to show their importance right now? And what I mean by right now is obviously our running games that we've got, because I think this is very easy for me. I look at 3 players and I think, yeah, I need you 3 to turn up for me right now. But I'll be interested to know what the panel think on this one.
To me, it's simple. I need Mikel Moreno to show he's worth his money, and it's been early in his career, but this is the time where we need him to show why we signed him, to start making people start to believe that he's a good option in that position, because I do think he's a really good player. Number 2, Martinelli needs to show everybody why he's Brazilian. Everybody makes fun of the guy, criticizes him for the last year and a half. I got people comparing him to Mudryk and Nadi Madueke from Chelsea fans. I got people comparing him to all sorts of stuff. I have a guy on Twitter comparing him to girls who are playing futsal. It's crazy. I need Martinelli to improve.
That's
right?
rude.
Yeah, it's rude. And then finally, the last person is, I think it's very simple. The last one, I just need Mikel. Is it a player or can it be a manager? Because I think the last person. I think the last person, Havertz, Saka, they've all been performing to a certain degree. If I'm going to pick a player, it's Martin Odegaard. Just come back and be at your best. We've missed him.
I agree with in the chat here. I agree with Jonathan. It's these 3 for me. Martinelli,
I agree.
Declan Rice, and Kai Havertz. Martinelli, just show me something, please, because I'm getting annoyed. I'm this close, man. And Declan Rice, I don't know what's. Oh, Gal, big up, man. Absolute legend. Sorry, man. Rice for me. Declan Rice, please. I mean, 105 million. I still think he's a 6. Me and Kenny are going to be all day. But at least show me something. And then Kai Havertz, for me, I need to see more, man. I just need to see more, in my opinion. Any other players people want to throw in the mix?
That sounds about Sterling.
Yeah, well, that's an obvious one, man. He don't even play him, bro. He doesn't even come on. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he doesn't play him. Doesn't play him at all.
It's a madness.
I think the manager's more important than any 3 players, to be honest with you.
Fair.
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
I think the manager needs to get the best out of these players, and he's not doing it right now, because I think our midfield's the biggest issue. I think you're right in what you're saying, Dan. I don't think Rice suits being the 8. He's not really got line breaking passes.
He's not a good number 6 either. He's not a top class number 6, Declan Rice.
No, he is. He
I don't think he is.
He is.
When you made right, but
this is where me and Kenny disagree, because I think he is.
You know, because number 6 these days is CDM. If he's a DM all day long, I'll say, you know what? Sorry for bringing this up, but when I look at a number 6, and I look at what I expect for a number 6, and I see a CDM, that's why I've got issue with Declan on the ball. I've got no problem with him in the recoveries. I've got no problem with him in terms of like reading the game, reading defensive issues, and rescuing us out of trouble. When I talk about being that boss in the midfield, which CDMs are, like Roger, it's a boss in the midfield. Look at Declan. I'm not seeing that. That's why I've got a lot of issues.
I will say this: this area of the apartment is probably.
That's the issue.
I think this area is an absolute shambles by the manager. I've got to say this now. I think our midfield is absolutely abysmal at times. I don't know where we're going with this, because the problem we've got is Partey is our best number 6 right now. He is. That's just to be fair. He's our best midfielder right now. Yeah?
That's the CDM that I'm talking about.
And that's the problem we've got now. So where does Rice now go that we spent 105 million on? Because he ain't a number 8, I don't think. Let me tell you that. Yeah, I believe he is a number 6, so he's better at number 6 than the 8. Odegaard's cool. I'm no problem with that. We ain't got no cover for him. I don't know what Marino is, and Jorginho and Partey are in their late 30s. So what are we doing, man? Yeah, but it's Marino. What is he though? I don't know what was he done so far.
He's an 8. He's an 8.
Is he? He's not.
Bro, come on. We just need to give him time, man. Like people.
Bro, I tell
you, he needs to get fit. He needs to get fit.
Give him time.
I tell you
he needs to get fit for us to have a good look at him.
Yeah,
he's a lamppost. He's a lamppost. That's what he is. A lamppost.
I ain't been impressed so far. That's all I'll say.
But look, I think that what Mikel Arteta needs to do is to let the shackles off, allow Martinelli to actually run at his player, yeah? Allow Martinelli to do what he does best, which is run into space, yeah? Allow, Saka to be a bit more fluid rather than robotic. Allow, Odegaard to do his creative magic as well. But I think we can actually afford to have 1-6, and I think he needs to choose between Rice or Partey. And right now, it'd be very harsh to drop Partey because Partey's been our best midfielder.
It didn't cost Mikel £100 million.
And then I think you can afford to put Odegaard in the 8 and maybe put Ethan Nwaneri in the 10. Go a bit more attacking.
Yeah, but he's not going to do that.
Let me Tosin, answer this one because this was actually a nice segue. When everyone's fit, what's our best midfield? Because I genuinely don't know yet where he's going with this, Arteta.
Yeah, if you're asking me on form, definitely our best midfield. Partey needs to start in the 6. Rice will probably start in the 8, and Odegaard as the advanced 8. But if you're asking me what midfield, I 100% know he's going to play. I bet you if Rice is fit, he's going to play Rice, he's going to play Marino, and he's going to play Odegaard. We were twerking for this guy all summer. You mean to tell me? I don't care what anyone says. He's going to play. So if he's going to play, and the thing is, it can actually work. Thomas Partey's my guy, but if you've got Marino and Odegaard in the team, you don't need a line breaker playing 6. You don't. You just need a 6 who's going to hoover up the space, who's going to do the Kante role and give it to these guys. Marino is a guy who can progress the ball. Arsenal fans it's because you've not watched him. I'm not saying I'm this woke person, but there's a clear profile of player there's a clear profile in the player that we've wanted to bring him to the club. I just think we need to give him time. You got to look at the context. My man didn't have a pre-season. He did not have a pre-season with Real Sociedad because he was linked with Arsenal. He comes to Arsenal, he gets an injury, he's out for 1.5 to 2 months. You're already behind the pack with no pre-season. Then you get injured. Then you get thrown into the team when our midfield is pretty much decimated with injuries, and you're getting thrown into high-intensity games. Like, what are you expecting from him? I think he's going to come good, and I can see him starting. I see if Rice is fit, Rice, Marino, and Odegaard will start, and I think we'll see a much more improved Arsenal. It's harsh on Partey, and with the White injury, probably I wouldn't be surprised if Partey plays that right back role because his line breaking passes from between our midfield and defense is key.
I agree with you that there's clearly a profile in terms of Mikel Marino. The profile is he's above 6 foot and he can win headers. And we like set piece FC this season. But that's true though, Tosin.
No, it's not, bro. Did you watch his cameo against Chelsea? Look at the way that we played in 2021, 2022. It is a complete contrast to what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I think Brandon. I think the way we play now is alien to what we were playing in 2023. I think the reason why, we're not seeing, the sort of attractive football you were asking for. I think he got burnt. Mikel got burnt because of what happened in 22-23 because of the goals we're conceding. Like winning, Bournemouth 3-2 was a mess. Yeah, great goal by Reece Nelson in the 97th minute, but that game was a mess. Aston Villa 4-2, that game was a mess. And I think when you get in the habit of conceding goals, eventually your quality is not always going to get you out of trouble. 2-0 up against Liverpool, 2-2, West Ham, and then 3-1 down against Southampton. I think maybe in Mikel's mind, a lot of people say that, we lost Saliba, that's why we struggled at the end. But I still think that conceding goals was happening when Saliba was in the team. But I think the way he's playing last season and to an extent this season is because a consequence of what happened 2 years ago. But in terms of like the midfield, when we were playing our best football last season, I looked at Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, playing up, number 8, creating goals from like set pieces, and Odegaard just having a free role. I think when I see Odegaard and Thomas Partey, I think Odegaard plays his best football when Partey's in the team. It was definitely evident in 22-23. It was evident in the second half of the season when we had that renaissance that there is a good sort of partnership there. When Odegaard's free, that means Saka and he can get close to Saka when they can have a great relationship. But what I was noticing in that sort of like period where we beat Luton and we struggled at Christmas, I'm not saying Thomas Partey is the alpha and omega, but what I was noticing is Odegaard wasn't getting closer to Saka towards to hurt the opposition. And I think that's where, if we're going to get back to where we're playing, we need Odegaard in those positions like Chelsea, you know, when we were 1-0 up, where he can get in that last third and get closer to Saka and hurt the opposition. And I think that's where that wild like. But in terms of like the midfield, look, I need to have a look, go at Marino, because I'm not going to just say like he's not my cup of tea, because I like to be, maybe I'm stubborn. Maybe I think, you know what, let me see.
He looked better when he come on against Chelsea, Kenny. Like,
Yeah,
he had a
I
bad
need to
couple
see,
of
I need
passes,
to
but
see
then
him
he looked
fully
better.
fit. Then I make my mind up. When he just comes to the football club and, you know, he doesn't look fit anyway, then I can't make a judgment on him. I have to be honest. It's you know, it's like churlish to make a judgment. I've got to see
No,
him
that's
when he's
fine.
on the
That's fine.
But in terms of like the midfield, my preferred midfield, maybe Thomas Partey's my pet or something, but I just look at Thomas Partey and I look at our midfield, and it's all about freeing Odegaard to get in a position where he can hurt the opposition. And I think with Thomas Partey in the team, we're a better side as a midfield. And at the end of the day, we can.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, because what he does against Forest will be telling. Because you've got all four of these guys available now. So if Forest is not going to be an easy game at home. So what he does against whoever he picks is who he has confidence in. I can put my house on it. Easy.
Well, I think what Forest are going to do, they're going to play a low block and play against Liverpool and try and hit people on the break. But they're going to try and use the pace of Alanga on the right hand side and Hudson-Odoi. They're going to be sort of players, but they're going to get the hold up play of Wood, which is where they're going to play. They're going to just feel it out and look.
But I think a player like Marino would be perfect for this game. Again, I think what, because the thing is, I get why Brandon is saying what he's saying, but if you actually watch, maybe this is me just getting gassed off a 20-minute cameo, but what you saw from that is what Marino's going to bring to Arsenal. So many times when he got on the ball, he didn't look to pass it immediately. He drew players in. He delayed, and then he plays it in behind the defense. That's what led to the chance that created. Look! Watch the chance that Trossard misses, and watch what Mourinho does there. He literally draws free. He does what Verratti.
Is it the one that Saliba put that cross in?
Yeah.
Sat the bridge. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, he does. There's a player that used to play for PSG, Verratti. He was so good at it. And Javi, they just get players. They delay the ball. They delay on the ball. They get players to come towards them. Then they hit it. And I think that type of player is perfect for a team like Forest. That's what I'm saying. Just watch this space with Arsenal. We've been unlucky. It's unfortunate that I'm banking on us having a clean bill of health, but unfortunately, that's just where we're at. So if we can get that,
what do you think the team will be then, tossing in against Forest? Do you think he'll go Partey at right back, or do you think he'll go Timber and Calafiori at fullbacks?
I don't think
Calafiori fit.
I'll be surprised if Calafiori, even if he's fit, I don't think he'll start him. I think he's going to start Timber left back. I think he's going to start Partey right back, and I think he's going to play Rice, Marino, and Odegaard. I'll be surprised if he doesn't play that.
Tossing is that thing is when me and Dan were watching Declan Rice in the warm up at Chelsea. The first thing we noticed, right? The first thing we noticed is that he was like passing the ball. He wasn't shooting. And then when he shot with his instep. And then when we saw him at the ground, we said, all right, let's have a look at him when he gets a tackle. And then he didn't last a full game, but his set pieces were a concern. So I don't know. Do you think I don't know if he's 100% fit, because with a toe injury, you don't take ejections.
That's what I was thinking. But
that's
supposedly, so I was reading about it. Supposedly, he's meant to be back. Supposedly. So if he's fit, if somehow he's made this miraculous recovery, which I don't think so. I think if he's available, he's going to play. And that's another thing as well in terms of his bad form. People are piling on him, but like you're forgetting, he's not the only England player that's coming off of.
Foden,
he's not the only player, bro.
Foden as well,
Watkins is struggling. Foden is struggling. Like Walker, like these guys, they've played lots of games. You're expecting them to be a robot, I'm not surprised that he's tailing off. He's still a good
Hey,
player.
Tosin, Christmas break, man. If you can join the campaign to stop Christmas football, all of this, you have your favourite players fit after a major tournament. But if you keep on playing the velocity of the games with the intensity and the regularity every 2 to 3 days, especially now where you can't play the kids in the Champions League, we're going to get
That's
more
on
injuries.
Arteta. Sorry, it's true, but
that's him. Yeah, because he won't rotate. He won't rotate.
That's on you. That's on the manager. You know, you can't cry victim and say, "Oh yeah, you knew what you're going into, and you haven't planned. You've not. It's clear you've not really done your due diligence on alternative."
I think he has done his due diligence. I think like I was on Twitter.
I mean on alternative teams he can play when he's first.
Oh yeah. But I think he has. But he just wants this team. He still thinks that team, his first 11, is going to go in a run, and because he does, it's lack of trust. Like I was reading something on Twitter, which is a cesspit of right wing BS. But let's just talk about the football. They were saying we haven't replaced Smith Rowe, and I said, well, hang on here. What do you mean we haven't replaced Smith Rowe? Smith Rowe couldn't get a game last season. I can think of 5 players that are ahead of him. So, and that's the kind of narrative we have. That when you talk about Smith Rowe, you talk about Reece Nelson, what big losses they were. If they were still at this football club, they wouldn't have got games because Mikel Arteta always played the first 11.
They're not big losses, man. We just didn't.
Well, look, let me ask the last question, which is gonna kind of, I suppose, wrap the show up. It is looking at going on a run like Tosin and Kenny Ken are talking about. Brandon, I'll start with you. I'll go through our fixtures from now until 2025. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just looking about the Premier League here. We know we've got Champions League and Carabao Cup games against Sporting, against Palace, against Monaco, drawing all these teams, right? But I look at it right now, and they are winnable Premier League games. Now, I happen to think we will drop points to them because of the way we play it. But when you look at it on paper, Arsenal have got very nice fixtures coming up now. We've got Nottingham Forest at home, West Ham away, rubbish. Man United at home. I don't care if Ruben Amorim's there or not. They are not as good as Arsenal, right? We got to beat them at home. Fulham, Craven Cottage, difficult game, but let's beat them because last year we should, it was an awful result. Let's get revenge on that one. We've got Everton at home, we should win. We've got Palace that we should win. We've got Ipswich at home that we should win. And we've got Brentford. We don't leave London for the whole of the rest of this year, right? No more excuses, full fit squad, no more sendings off, no more referees have cost us. None of this rubbish that I keep hearing the whole time, that conspiracies. Just go beat these teams that are worse than you. That's the way I see it. Yeah. What are you saying, Brandon?
100%. I couldn't agree more. Look, at the end of the day, if we want to have any chance of winning this league this season, regardless of whether we think it's done or not, right? If we want to have any chance of winning the league this season, we have to go on a run now. And these fixtures, as you say, are favourable. We should be winning these games. And we can't really afford to drop points, in all honesty. Arsenal finished the league last season on 89 points. I don't personally think it's going to require that amount of points to win the league this season. I think you could probably win the league on like 86, 87, 88, something like that. Right? Now, just for Arsenal to achieve 89 points like we did last season, we can now only afford to drop 11 points in our remaining 27 games because we've already dropped 14. Right? Just for us to achieve last season's points total. For us to potentially win the league, we could probably only afford to drop anywhere between 13 and 14 points for the remainder of the season. Well, we've already dropped 14 points in our opening 11. I know we've had tough fixtures. I know we've had tough away fixtures and that. But it's not even... I mean, most of you will agree. The big games are not what worries us as Arsenal fans. It's the little games. It's the teams that are lower down in the league. It's the teams that we can't seem to get up for that we end up dropping points against. So it's these games that we look at and say they're favourable, we should win them. But a lot of the time, these are the games that Arsenal drop points in. So, look, at the end of the day, the pressure's on. Yeah, in my opinion, the manager and this squad has to win a major honour that is the whole point of the 5-phase project, not to win a League Cup, not to win an FA Cup, although they would be nice, but we should have been winning them along the way anyway, right? And unless that is achieved, then he's got to go. And this isn't, I'm not just like making this a manager issue, because at the end of the day, this squad should be capable and is capable. They've shown us over the last 2 seasons they are capable of being there or thereabouts, and they should be again this season. They should be, you know.
No, it's interesting because I was gonna have another question about the manager, but I feel like we do that every stream about what he needs. I think it's so obvious what he needs. He needs to challenge and win a trophy this season at the bare minimum expectation. We can't be finishing below Liverpool and City and win nothing. That's like sackable for me. That's regression. That's off you go. Like, you've had everything you want. Let's get another guy in. For me, that's where we're at. Let me come to Tosin, then Kenny Ken to close. Tosin, we've got a run of fixtures there that, let's be real, I think Arsenal can go on winning streak. We've got everything in our favour now. We've got nice fixtures. We've got a fully fit squad. What are you expecting when the season starts up again this weekend, bro?
Yeah, I'm expecting a good run, a great run. In fact, I'm expecting to see the real Arsenal. I'm expecting to see us accrue a number of points. I'm optimistic. I mean, 9 points is a big gap, but my mindset is, look, I still think City are the team to beat. If we're January and Liverpool are still like 8 clear, okay, hats up to you, Arne Slot. But I genuinely don't think they're going to do that. I 100% see Liverpool dropping points. And fair enough, Brandon made the point about smaller teams. But if you look at it in the grand scheme, okay, Newcastle away, that's a game that most teams would struggle with. Bournemouth away, look at what they did to Man City at their ground. I would say they pummeled Man City more than they pummeled us. So it's like, you're looking at these games. Okay, cool. Brighton at home, we drop points. 10 men. So I'm thinking, like, it's weird because
I'm talking about these games, Tosin, because last season we see Arsenal drop points against West Ham, Fulham. The season before it was Southampton, Nottingham Forest, etc. It's these games you know what I mean?
I think we'll beat them. I think we'll beat these teams. I'm not even trying to be like patronize these other teams. Like, not that they're bad teams, but I think we'll beat them. I actually think Arsenal, we've made a habit of whacking these teams, and I think the fact that we're desperate for points now means there's no margin for error now. And you got players coming back. I fully expect to see some players come back into form. Yeah, I'm optimistic, man. Let's see.
Okay, cool. Kenny, come on, man. Fill me some optimism.
Well, first thing, I like to see some clean sheets, because when we're playing our best football, we keep clean sheets. And you look at a renaissance after Dubai. The first game we played was Crystal Palace 5-0. And there was a lot of nils. Burnley 0, with a lot of goals 5. West Ham and Sheffield 6-0 away. I think that's where you've got to start from the basics, the clean sheets and the performances as well. And it's got to be the intensity as well. When everyone talks about us having some tough games and tough away games, I just think, ain't. If you can't motivate Man City, Arsenal away, Tottenham in a North London derby, and you can't motivate yourself for Liverpool at home, then you're not a big club. I generally believe our problem this season has been against teams outside the top 10. And I always thought that we actually get turned over at home, because at home, away at the Emirates, we were giving teams a lot of ground, conceding a lot of chances, and we're relying on our goalkeeper to be our best player. If our goalkeeper is our best player in these 9 games, we're in deep, deep trouble. That means we are dropping points. So it's got to be one game at a time. Forget about this run of games. It's got to be Forest. You can't play
just win.
Forest, and then after Forest, then you talk about West Ham, and then you take one game at a time. I think that's the best way Arsenal can do it. Go back to basics. Start keeping clean sheets, and if you do that, go back to basics, start treating it with the same intensity as you treat a big game, you'll win these games, because I don't think a team can live with us. But it's a clean sheets. Where we are as a team. We've made improvement. We kept clean sheets. We haven't kept clean sheets. We're still going to be in the same problem we were 2 seasons ago, where eventually the foundations are going to creak, and we're going to fall through the roof again. You know what I mean? And and we're going to have to do the rebuild. So clean sheets, intensity against Nottingham Forest, and be ruthless when we're in front of the goal. But you're can't rely on Saka all the time to go that well. You can't be, and oh God, Martinelli is to step up. But Kai Havertz is getting these bad habits that used to make me angry before his renaissance at the turn of this calendar year. Chelsea was what was that?
I don't think you'll see him do that with Odegaard back though, because
I hope so. I think that's
an Arteta tactical thing. He's trying to get to fill up that space, and this is why for me I'm looking at Arteta. I think he's done way too much tweaking, way too much overthinking with the team. I get it. You've got like 100 different formations, but you're doing too much, bro. Just let Kai Havertz be the 9, stay in the box, wait for crosses, win duels, and just score goals. Just simple football.
Yeah, facts. Listen, man, everyone's on the same page for that one. That's for sure. I can't see any more drop points against teams like this. We just have to get across it. However, I'll come to my predictions later on in the week. I do feel like there's drop points around the corner more. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. People just think Odegaard in this team now, and then everyone's winning 4-5-0. Nah,
Dan,
man,
realistically,
everyone's more than that, man.
But Dan, everyone's got to drop points because it's with the intensity of the games, Champions League, and the Christmas period.
No, I agree with that. I don't think it'll just be us.
We got pumped by West Ham last year, and I think
I don't think it will just be us, but I do think we'll drop points, man. And I just hope it ain't.
Whoever drops, Liverpool, it depends on the Christmas period for Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal. Whoever drops the less points.
Have you seen Man City's next 6 games? Man City's next 6 games ain't pretty, man.
Yeah, but Liverpool's ain't easy either. Remember, they got
We're getting sucked into the trap, Ken. We just need to focus on just beat Nottingham Forest. Just win.
When you're 9 points ahead, you got to sleep with you got to sleep with one eye open when you're 9 points behind.
Well, I said this earlier on the terrace, right? With Terry and
until we get to that level where we're ahead, we can sleep with the lights off.
I said this earlier with the boys on the terrace, right? I do believe this is a first for all 3 clubs. Liverpool have never been this far ahead with Arne Slot. Arteta has never been 9 points trailing in a title race. He has before in top 4s and God knows what other, right? He's been in more than 9 points. And Pep Guardiola has never had Rodri, KDB, all these guys out long term and been, what is he? Is he 5 or 6 points behind Liverpool this early? So all 3 of us are kind of in a first thing. Exactly. So look, I'll never write off Pep and I still have City to win the league personally. But I do feel like it could be a scenario that all 3 of us are in.
You so personal. How would you feel about the old club, the team, and the manager if Liverpool go on that run, do what they did in 2020, and win the league?
I think that we need to. If Liverpool do that, I think that's a huge regret. That's mad. That should be us.
Are you ruling it out? Are you ruling it out? Because
I'm not ruling it out. I think
I'm just looking at spine. Obviously, we look at the fact that they haven't got the experience that we've had in the last 2 years. But I look at that spine and I'm thinking, well, that spine's good enough to win the league and cause problems in Europe. That's the football fan of me, not a Liverpool love, just a football fan of me is thinking.
Liverpool look good, man. Not lie about this. Like Liverpool look good. I don't know why people want to lie about it. They look good, man.
I can't lie. I can't lie. I underestimated them because of the way they gassed out at the end of last season. Like Liverpool look good. They got a good team as well. Good.
Do you think what was their problem last season? That the way they play with the intensity, that rock and roll football.
Potentially, they don't play rock and roll football now.
People forget they had a lot of injuries last season as well.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
they still did as well as they did.
But they look relaxed. Like when you watch Liverpool, I'm like relaxed because I know they're going to win. Like Liverpool fans must be the same. Like he's been able to balance out the defense and the intensity, the quality. I don't look at Liverpool now and go, that's unrecognizable to Klopp.
And classical music, mate. Classical music, Mozart, Beethoven, Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah.
No Nirvana.
Fine margins. Teams have had chances.
I think the way people play though, I don't see like there's no, let's just say, edginess to it. Like they're not conceding goals, but they're scoring plenty of goals as well. They've got
Yeah.
a good balance.
It's a
They've got a
balance. Yeah.
good amount of control within their play as well, which is why I don't really see them dropping off. I think what is going to be key, and I agree with LB on this because I heard LB speak about it. I think what's going to be key for all three football clubs is what each team does in January. I think if City go out and do what they, you'd expect City to do in January, and maybe go and buy a Zubimendi, then I think they win the league. If Liverpool go out and invest, then right now I potentially think they could win the league, not just because of the points that they've accumulated ahead of Arsenal and City, but just the way that they're playing football and the settled system that they're in. And I think out of all three clubs, we're the one that needs to do the most in the January transfer window. But I also trust Arsenal the least to go out in January and do something.
Yeah.
So I think we're in a bit of a predicament, really. I think it's going to end up being between Liverpool or City, personally. And I hate to say that. I really do.
A lot can change, and we need it to change in our favour. That's for sure.
I want us to be written off. That way we don't have much pressure on playing football.
Stuff like this in football always averages out. Like as good as controlled as Liverpool has been, I've watched matches this season where teams just need to take their chances. Villa had chances against. I've watched a lot of games. Teams have had chances, good opportunities against them in matches. Even though, so let's see.
You watched Leverkusen game in that first half. Leverkusen had some good opportunities. I think they got a goal to Salad in the Champions League game, but Liverpool went and win 4-0 because they took the few chances they had. It's
just teams aren't killing them off in the first half. Like obviously, that's what he's built.
That includes us though.
Yeah, exactly. It does. They start slow, and their aim is wait till like 60th minute and then turn it on. And they've conceded chances. Teams just need to take advantage of that. No one's done it yet, but you never know, man. These things change in football. There's a lot to play for.
You know what? Someone just injured Kanate, man. That guy's just like a wall. He's like, someone do something about him, man. He's just like when he plays against
quality,
us,
man. He's quality. I always like him.
Not better than Saliba.
I know.
He's up there.
Bloody hell.
He's good there.
Let's do the super chats to close. Chaitanya comes in, says, spend money on Gyökeres instead of the stadium. 4 goals again tonight for Sweden. This guy, man, absolutely on fire.
Who's Sweden play? Who's Sweden play?
I don't have a clue.
Gibraltar?
Come on, rubbish.
Probably Gibraltar.
I don't know who it is, actually.
Gyökeres is a good player.
Hey, guys, we got him next week, haven't we? Next Tuesday.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have. Let's see what he does against us. Hopefully, he's injured. Big up,
Dad, just remember you're an Arsenal fan, mate. When you play Sporting next week, no Gyökeres, like t-shirts.
No Gyökeres love, man. No Gyökeres love. Suge, big up, says, big up Dan, the panel and the community. As an international gooner, I couldn't care less about an increased stadium. I want trophies and quality talent. Unfortunately, though, it's about profit. Big up to you. Suge also comes in and says, only saving grace to Gal's argument is the £65 million on Havertz. We got the money, but Arteta and Edu spend it on Havertz rather than looking elsewhere. My problem isn't even actually buying it on Havertz. It's the fact that we've bought it on Havertz. We spend it on Havertz, and we still don't have a striker. In my opinion, anyway. I think he's a decent 9, but come on, we're no better off than where we were with Giroud.
He's a decent player. He's just not a 9.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is the thing. I was listening to Supporters Club earlier, and Turkish Curtis and Chris Hudson were on there, big up, and all 3 of them are like, "Yeah, I'd rather have Giroud than Havertz. We still need a striker." It was quite funny. I was like, "Well, rolling back the year."
Let's stop this revisionism of Giroud, man. We do this with Xhaka. Now we're doing it with Giroud. Come on, man.
Yeah, but there was a reason.
The point is that we needed better than them back then, and now we're actually rather.
Let's get back in the zeitgeist. Let's get back in the zeitgeist and remember how we were talking about Giroud in 2017, 2016. Come on, let's get back. Let's get.
That's the point, Ken. That's what you're missing. That's the point. We were talking like that, and we're now saying we would rather have that. That's how bad it's got.
We were cussing Giroud in 2017, 2016, 2017. Now we're missing him. Why?
Well, we're not missing him, but to our side, and that still wouldn't be good enough. Same with Xhaka, by the way. Everyone talks about Xhaka. Xhaka in this 8 would be better than what we've got so far, and Giroud up top would be better than what we got. I don't want them both back. I want better than that, but that's the point. We still haven't even got better and upgraded on Giroud and Xhaka. When the hell did they go? Years ago, man. It's just crazy, man. But Corey, big up, guys. The coaches of the Cronkies, other teams have been in charge for 8 years, the Rams, and 10 years for the Nuggets. This tells me they won't sack him. Yeah, look, I think this is why I've kind of gone off of the what should we do with Arteta if he doesn't? Because he's staying, man. He will be here for at least another 5 years.
Contract for 2022, 2027.
He's here for whatever, man. Matty, legend. Big up to Matty. Arsenal don't make changes quick enough when the situation isn't working out. In the end, it usually costs us success and ultimately trophies, which takes us 5 to 8 years to get back to success. Mate, I don't even know that 5 years without a trophy, but it's been 21 without a. It's actually been 21 without a Premier League, 31 without a League Cup, 31 without a European, and 5 now without a FA Cup.
Dan, you've got to remember, we went 9 years without a trophy under Arsene Wenger. We went 4 years without 4 years without winning anything between 98 and thing. I think it's an Arsenal thing. We call ourselves a big club, but when you look at what we've won, we haven't really dominated the way a big club should dominate, and we win things occasionally, and that's why I just want this. That's why I'm desperate for like a new way of doing things. I'm desperate for the Arsenal, classy Arsenal, to be ripped up to start again, so we can dominate. Because my life, I've only seen Liverpool, Man City, and proves that Man United dominate. I've never seen Arsenal do it.
No, I was still waiting for us to dominate as well. Go on, Brandon.
It's ironic, really, because we talk about 5 years without a trophy. Everybody ridiculed Pochettino, who spent 5 years at Spurs and won nothing. What's the difference with Arteta?
Right now, there isn't.
Winning anything.
No, it's none.
Right now, there isn't any.
The only difference is an FA Cup. That is literally it. That's literally it.
But then the majority of Arsenal fans are still happy to continue to back this. So it doesn't matter what we say because he's staying anyway. Well, if people didn't think like that and started to think, no, fuck this, I'm not happy with this, I'm going to protest to get this guy out, I want this football club to move forward, then maybe something would happen rather than just accepting the bollocks all the time.
I agree with you, bro. But the majority don't think that, Brandon.
I think it starts from the top. The whole mentality of this football club has to change. And remember, the glove has to fit the hand. And I think with the Cronkies buying into the Arsenal, classy Arsenal thing, the glove fits the hand. That this was going on before the Cronkies got here. This classy Arsenal holding us back. This has been holding us back for a long time. We think because we had Wenger, and when Wenger was winning things, we had George Graham previous to that, they were happy with that. They never wanted to go out and dominate when we had Georgie Graham. And with Arsene Wenger, we didn't. They just thought, right, we've got these great players. Arsene Wenger's always going to have, first dips at French market. Georgie Graham's always going to get the best boys in London. And that's how our club is. Then they hope we do it on the cheap.
Yeah, facts, bro. Chaitanyas, I agree with this super chat, by the way. Lacazette is better than Jesus. Aubameyang's better than Havertz. I mean, that is absolute facts for me. Oh, look at that. Tossin's got fireworks and everything. Blaze says, Tossin, listen to yourself. Arsenal needs to win the league, but they're bringing in Sterling and Marino, who needs time. Why? Chelsea and United will catch up before you know it. Well, listen, they're coming for us. I've got Man United fans telling me they're coming for us. Can you imagine if that actually happens, man? It would be absolutely crazy. But there we go. Listen, people, we got to wrap up because people have got stuff to do, other shows to go to. This is going to redirect you to Igal, so please make sure you stay tuned. Go show him some love. Say Dan Potts raid, 12th man raid, whatever you want to do. Go show him some love over there. Big up to Tossin. Make sure you're following Tossin on @FleetFooted. Make sure you're following Brandon on True Gunners TV. And make sure you are following Kenny Kent on Instagram. Make sure you go and hit the like and the subscribe. Make sure you check out manscaped.com and use the code FTM20 for all products. 20% off at the moment for Christmas. And we'll see you next time.
You don't talk about landscape with me, man. I haven't shaved since March.
Don't be a Kenny Ken. Go get yourself a nice beard shit trimmer. Right, we're out of here. See you next time, people.
Well, like,